My name is Amogh. I'm a first-year law student at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. And today I want to do a quick video on the MMI, or the multiple mini interview process, specifically the communication skills involved that you need to kind of get better at for that interview. Just a quick background about me. I'm, like I said, currently in my first year of law at Monash. I have done business as my undergraduate degree, and I've also been a part of Toastmasters International, which is an organization that helps members get better at their communication skills, oral and written. So I've been with them for about 7 years. I've also done a few speaking engagements while I was at university, and I've had the experience of both interviewing candidates as well as being the interviewee. So I can kind of offer you both sides of the coin, so to speak. So today what I really want to do is offer you some quick tips and tricks that you can use for the MMI process. I do realize that the interviews are right around the corner, and so it's a really good time to start thinking about what things you can do to make sure you do the best you can possibly do during that interview. So before we get started, let me just quickly tell you what the MMI is. Again, there are a bunch of different definitions / explanations that talk about the MMI. I'm just going to give you one of the descriptions, which says that the MMIs are a values-based recruitment method whereby applicants move through a circuit of stations with different interviewers asking questions and scoring the applicant's performance. The MMIs aim to assess the applicant's non-academic qualities such as integrity, empathy, adaptability, and verbal communication skills. I'll be addressing the verbal communication skills aspect of it today. Now, as you know, this is an interview, and one of the most important things in an interview is how well you're able to communicate your ideas to the interviewer. You might be an A+ student, and you might know a lot about medicine, anything about medicine. However, if you're not able to communicate that very clearly, succinctly, and effectively to the interviewer, you will seriously jeopardize your own interview performance during that day. So it's very, very, very crucial that you're able to explain yourself very clearly to the interviewer. So my top 5 tips for doing that are: first, have good organization. I'll go into each of them in a bit more detail soon. So first is having a good organization / structure. 2, maintaining a clear and consistent eye contact. 3, having some sort of a hand gestures which you can use when explaining things just to make the explanation process a bit easier. 4th, having a calm, composed body language. And 5th, and most importantly, making sure that you pause when you have to. Now let's get started with the first one again. So when you get asked a question during the MMIs, it's really important for you to think through that question before you answer it. And one of the ways you can do that is mentally organize your answer. Ask yourself, how do I want to explain this to the interviewer? What method will make the most sense? Now, I appreciate that because it's an interview, it is going to be pretty high pressure, so you need to do this quickly, but it is worth taking the time to really pause and think about, how do I want to organize this answer? It could be very quick. It could just be, these are the 3 points I want to talk about, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to talk about them in a certain way. And you can just basically kind of signpost the interviewer as you answer the question. Or it could be in more detail. You can say, well, I'm going to have an introduction, I'm going to talk about this, this, and this, then I'm going to divide it into these 3 or 4 points, and then I'm going to address these further sub-points that may exist. So in all, it's really important to have some sort of an organization that you can use when answering questions. My second tip was having some sort of hand gestures when explaining your ideas. Now, this particularly ties to my earlier point regarding organization. If you are, let's say, talking about 2 main points during the interview, it's really nice if you can say, I'm going to be discussing 1 and 2, and if you show it this way, because then the interview can really follow. It's very visual, and that really helps the other person to see, okay, so these are the 2 points or 3 points or how many ever points you have that are going to be addressed. You don't want to overdo it as well. You don't want to kind of keep going on and on and on. However, where you do feel that having some sort of a hand gesture will guide the interviewer better, it's worth using them there. My third tip was having consistent and clear eye contact. Now you might have noticed that in this video I've been looking at the camera, and yes, for international students who are or who do need to take these interviews over Skype or over some other online platform, it can be difficult to stare into the camera point blank with no one sitting across from you. However, you need to remember that's the time when you really need to look the other person, or you need to look into the camera. Because if you kind of look down, or if you look to the side, or if you look up, it undermines your own answer, because it tells the interviewer that you're not confident in your own answer, in what you're saying. And that could potentially jeopardize the interviewer into thinking that maybe he doesn't know or she doesn't know what the answer is, or what they're saying is not correct or accurate. So it's really important to maintain eye contact. Don't stare someone point blank. However, have a consistent flow of eye contact in your answer and throughout the interview. My next tip is the importance of pausing. Now, you might have noticed me doing it a few times during the interview, and it's a really good tip to have, or it's a really good trick to have in your back pocket, especially when you are confused, or especially when you don't know what to say. Let's say you're given a question that you have absolutely no idea how to answer, or it's a question that you need a bit more time to think about. It's always nice to take a couple of moments and pause, collect your thoughts, and then explain, rather than to start answering and kind of go off on a tangent or ramble about something that's totally unrelated to the question and ultimately not answer the question. From an interviewer's perspective, I can tell you right now, it's better if someone pauses and takes the time to really understand what the question is before answering, rather than to see someone who just immediately jumps into it and answers something that's totally wrong. Now, having said that, you don't want to pause for too long. Obviously, it's an interview, so you don't want to pause for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I can't exactly tell you the exact time. However, you don't want to pause for too long such that it becomes awkward. But pausing for maybe 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just to quickly kind of think about how you want to answer is a good thing to do. And it's actually recommended that you do it rather than rambling on and on. My next tip was having a good body language. Now, I appreciate that because this is over Skype or over, I keep using Skype, but if it's over some other medium, it can be difficult to have or maintain the body language as you would if it was in person. But you do need to maintain a cool body language. You don't want to kind of shuffle around too much. You don't want to kind of move around like this too much, or clump your hands, or something that would distract the interviewer, because at the end of the day, you want them to focus on your answer, not on the other surrounding things. So maintain a cool, composed body language. If it helps, you can actually adjust your camera such that your hands aren't seen. So if you're kind of used to clumping your hands, or if you do this a lot, maybe keep the camera a little bit higher so that the interviewer doesn't see your hands. But generally, just try to stay calm, try to stay composed, and take a deep breath if need be, where you feel that you're getting a bit worked up. And finally, just remember to smile. This is an extra 6th tip, but I do appreciate that it can be challenging, can be very high pressure during an interview to answer questions quickly and to kind of keep all these things in mind while also remembering what you are supposed to answer. But it's always, if you practice these tips at home, if you practice these small little things, I guarantee you will do really well. And smiling is part of that. You don't want to kind of have a very straight face or very kind of very stoic looking face. You want to show some sort of excitement, happiness. I do understand that one of the things they are looking for is empathy and is adaptability. So you do want to kind of demonstrate, and I know this is not regarding your communication, it's more about the answers, but you still want to smile. You still want to, don't be too serious. So again, to summarize, my top 5 plus that one additional tip, 6 tips, would be have some sort of a structure / organization to your answer. Use hand gestures where you can and where you think it might be effective in guiding the interviewer to your answer. 3, pause when you need to collect your thoughts and when you're a bit confused or need a bit more time to answer the question. Have some eye contact, don't look down, don't look up, and don't look at the camera. You're effectively looking at the other person as you're talking and as you're explaining your answer. So look at the camera and have consistent eye contact. 5, body language. You don't want to kind of move around too much. You don't want to, clump your fists or whatever. stay calm, stay cool. And 6, remember to smile. I know it's an interview, but you gotta smile and you gotta maintain that positive attitude, excuse me. So again, I understand that interview season is right around the corner, so all the very best for your interviews. I hope that some of these tips do help you in your interview, and again, you can practice these at home, practice these with friends, and I trust me, using these will take you far in your interview process. So good luck and stay safe.